the more that you look into this stuff and you try to make sense of it all. I mean, really, just look at him. Look at him. I mean, you could have reversed. You could have reversed the paint and then her. Do you not feel any shame? I mean, she obviously doesn't. But I'm getting off topic. Let's start at the beginning.
Event with Miss Shrum. How do you think that went?
Wait. I'm sorry. This isn't the beginning at all. And we gotta go way further back. It's hard to recap and it's hard to retell these events and these occurrences because they come with such a level of frustration that it just makes you want to just throw the whole thing and go on a march somewhere. But we got to start with the first person to really make some noise this semester, and that is her. This is Azaria Richard, a executive member of the freshman action team that is a parent crazy. This is Azaria Richard. She is an executive member of the freshman action team that is an umbrella organization of the Black Student Association. On September 9th, Azaria received a snap from, well, y'all already know. However, what y'all didn't know was that this was a fellow classmate of hers. And let's just say she got some choice words for how she would describe the incident itself.
And create a group chat. And we created a group chat, and one of the girls messaged me outside of the group chat, like I've never talked to her before. I was at TJ Maxx with my friend, and I get in the car, and I'm like, who's this? Who snapped me? Because I don't really be on Snapchat like that. And it was her. And it was like her face, and it said the N-word with the hard ER. And I screenshotted it.
And screenshot it she did. Here's Sis's face one more time. Just for y'all's sake. Yeah. So what happened after Azaria, went to administration about this very present issue in her classroom?
And you should message OSU misconduct. So I messaged my teacher, and I told my teacher what happened, and she reported it to the higher up, and they were like, well, I had to have a meeting with them first. And I met with them, and they were like, we don't, like, they were kind of in agreement. They were like, there's no way her boyfriend said that, because that's like her big claim. Her boyfriend said that, and it just is not true. And I think it was the next day I met with student conduct, and I met with, I think his name was Mr. Scott Alexander, and it was probably one of like just the worst like meetings I've ever had. Like he was just, he didn't care. He didn't, like I didn't even meet with somebody who, not to be rude or disrespect his position, but he wasn't like he was student conduct, but he was lower level student conduct. So I printed everything out, like all the screenshots. I printed out her Snapchat profile. I printed out her, like the picture of her. I printed out of her saying the N-word. I printed out.
And she obviously looks white. She's like very white. Like she's
yes.
White. Yeah.
And then I explained to him that even like when Black people talk, that like we don't call each other the N-word that way, and we're using it very friendly. Like I explained the difference because he was Caucasian. I told Mr. Scott Alexander, is there anything that can be done? Because I feel threatened, like this isn't safe, like saying that is a hate crime. He said that it's her freedom of speech, that she can, like, basically he specifically said it was her freedom of speech. She has freedom of speech, and I take that as like she can literally say whatever she wants, It's not.
Without consequence.
It's not gonna matter. Like, she's not gonna get in trouble. They don't care. They don't care about, because I was told by my biology teacher was like, oh, they're not gonna remove her from this class because it's her choice to remove from the class. I got an email from my teacher. The student conduct didn't even email me back. They emailed the biology department head before they even emailed me back, and it was my situation. They emailed them and saying they weren't going to remove her from the class or give her any consequences because it's her freedom of speech to say what she wants to say, even though that's literally hate speech.
While we're on the topic of white people just being overtly racist and not seeing any consequence, any retribution, or any response from Oklahoma State, let's go back to this guy. Feel like he needs to be talked about a little bit more. Yeah. This one is just so bad. It's so bad. The goal of the football game was to wear black clothing, was to dress in all black Oklahoma State University football gear. And yet here we are with a grown man who paints his face black. I would like to contrast this situation to one of a very classic and defining film in the study of black collegians. And that would be from Dear White People, when that particular frat party occurred and everybody thought it'd be just so swell to dress up in blackface. And it just makes me wonder, what are we teaching in schools? Oh, that's right, they want to get rid of okay, scratch that. Why do we constantly make excuses for this? But when it comes to a black student who is on an executive board at your institution, who is called a derogatory term, now we are just the biggest protectors of the Constitution in the world. Like, we don't have, again, I like to bring up our own handbook. It's crazy how fast our platforms are silenced in favor of ignorance on the biggest, brightest screen at the university that we pay thousands of dollars in tuition for. And I'm going off. Now, if I still have your attention, let's go a little further in the future.
Toni, get that! Get that!
So is it Brazos Loft or Barbershop?
Brazos. Hi.
I didn't get it at first.
Oh no, baby! That top all the way up there.
Being all powerful, and it all belongs to you. Yes, it all belongs to you. When
Jesus said yes, nobody can say no.
When Jesus said yes, nobody can say no. When Jesus said yes,
Sing, Michelle.
nobody can say no. Let me shut up.
Sing, Michelle.
I'm first.
To be honest with you, I think we have one of the best black student unions in the country. Even though we don't call it that. We call it Black Student Association. I never... But no, like legit, we have a very special, very unique Black Student Association. And one thing about them that really just kind of struck me on our trip to Austin for a Big 12 student government conference was the fact that they're so charismatic. I think that whole time that we were just walking to our first meeting upon arriving, there was not a single serious moment. There was not a single serious moment. And, you know, that gave a lot of lighthearted commentary, a lot of lighthearted energy to what was a pretty dull meeting overall when attempting to contextualize the state of some of these black student unions across the country that are facing some pretty dire stuff. Texas Senate approves bill that would ban diversity programs. Oklahoma in public legislators file resolution. The legislation calling for elimination of Texas House, where members have been more muted about the proposal to disband Oklahoma City programs. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signs a bill banning DEI initiatives in public colleges. Texas Senate. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signed a bill into law Monday. Colleges squirm under anti-diversity institutions. Colleges are attempting to find ways to save their diversity, equity, Senate Bill 17 with every Republican legislator. Multiple red states have introduced or passed legislation targeting DEI is under attack in colleges. A mandatory diversity, equity, and inclusion is the fear of practice. In the wake of last year's Texas lawmakers are universities funded all the bill will also target deaths of governor, the location of every respected targeted new college. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis at minority even before the movement Florida colleges grant. I know that our coursework for some of the DEI programs, there's already changing crosshairs of red state ballots. You know, in any way, Senate concurrence out vote for direct state public colleges. DeSantis said allocation of the idea. The move came in the heels of colleges are going to we are eliminating the. If you look at the way the new law also bans this was a month later. DEI general education that has no place in the white or included curriculum and teaches identity or White House being pushed by their chosen colleges. The effort is part of DeSantis' larger work to crack down on what he calls the woke indoctrination in schools. In the last 2 years, state education officials have rejected dozens of mathematics and social studies textbooks for students in K through 12 schools. Look at where we are. At this pivotal end of 2023, look at where we stand in the country. I just don't know how to, I don't know how to put it all into words. You know, the footage, there is none. There is none of how to accurately describe the confusion, the anger, the fear, the uncertainty that these schools across the country are facing because their programs are just getting wiped out like it's some sort of gimmick. Like DEI programs were some sort of like magical fairy tale that we just all lived for a couple years and we're supposed to quickly forget. It starts small. It starts at the smallest level. It starts with Azaria getting called the N-word by a white student. And then it rises up. It builds up to the highest of national levels. And then we go out and we have an event with the highest of ranked officials that Oklahoma State can provide. We have an event with President Trump. And what happens? And what happens? What happens? Directly after it. It's infuriating how much we pour ourselves into these programs, into our students, into our communities, and it gets spat back in our face. So what do? We sit on our hands. We go to these fancy button-up events. We talk politely. We speak with such affluence in front of public officials. And we become so articulate, all for nothing at all. But to be spat back in our face, but to be treated still as if we're less than an animal. And what can we do about it? What can we do about it? Absolutely nothing. It's all absolutely hopeless. The next story is the story that defines everything at Oklahoma State.
Spoke with say that they were actually pretty surprised that this happened in the first place because they say they feel pretty safe on campus.
I'm sorry. Do they feel safe? Does this look like safe, Zach?
That is until there have been multiple reports of men going around yelling racial slurs at students, and now that has those students rethinking their surroundings.
It was shocking at first. I didn't know what to do.
Tamara Woodley, one of the Oklahoma State University students who says she was a victim of racism.
I saw a big silver truck drive by, and then they rolled on the windows, and then that's when they yelled the racial slur at me.
Woodley says she was walking back home from practice when two men in a silver truck yelled the N-word at her.
Since I came to Stillwater, Oklahoma, I've never experienced it. Like, I've always felt like I've been in a welcoming community, especially on campus too. Like, everybody's so sweet.
And now more students report that men driving a silver truck have been yelling racial slurs at them too. This post from the student group OK State Stand United says something similar happened to three black students earlier this week.
It comes down to like a safety thing too. If someone is willing to drive past and say that, what else would they be willing to do?
OSU releasing a statement saying in part, quote, "The university condemns all forms of racism. This type of behavior is inconsistent with the cowboy community standards. We encourage any student who has experienced this type of behavior to report it to OSU police. OSU PD is implementing extra patrols and is encouraging anyone, even individuals who simply witnessed an event, to report it."
I think something needs to be done, or the situation should be at least handled or looked into.
Now, OSU police did confirm that they have received a few reports of this very incident taking place. Meanwhile, OSU's full statement can be found on our website and in our news app. Reporting live from Stillwater, Zach Rael, KOCO 5 News.
It's interesting that he says that students are being more aware of their environments, because it's almost as if it applies the blame to us for not being more cautious, that someone could look out of their car window and set us back once again hundreds of years. These are your victims. These are the people who just so happen to not be watching out for their environment on that traumatic and horrifying night. Yet, you can't even tell. They look like regular old students. The same type of regular old student that the news reporter once was. The same type of regular old student that we all are. However, for some odd reason, some evil racist decided to haunt them for the rest of their college journey with a terrifying and traumatizing experience?
I mean, it never felt like 100% safe ever, because like it is not my first incident with that word being used against me. But I mean, it's just like,
This isn't your first.
not with them, like but it happened to me and some other French freshman year. Not the same people though.
Wow.
But it's not the first time, so like, just, it's like how I view the world. Like I don't feel like I'm 100% safe anywhere except home. So I mean, it hasn't really changed much. It's just more, I guess, cautious in a way.
Mm-hmm. I guess I would say, like, as a freshman, I kind of expected it already, to be honest. Coming into a PWI, it was just like something that I was just like, all right, it's probably going to happen. But when it happened, it was like more like, damn, I didn't expect that.
For some, it's their first time. For others, they're very familiar with it. It's like a rite of passage. Welcome to Oklahoma State, land of where if you're black, you will get called the N-word by some white guy in a truck. I cannot wait for my time personally. I already bought my knife, my pepper spray. I'm so excited. I mean, it's really, it will be an honor to be graced by some white truck calling me a racial slur, and then administration showing more concern for a dead cow in their statements than they ever will about their black students. Wow. Speaking of which, let's do a little roll call of every single little thing that's happened in the past, I don't know, let's say 2 weeks? No. 3 weeks. 3 weeks in which Caucasian communities have lost their goddamn mind. Is this thing on? Okay. Well, first and foremost, you can't really forget the girl getting ran over by some white guy in some white frat off somewhere. Secondly, we have to bring up we already brought up the blackface. We already brought up the other example of someone getting called the N-word over social media. Again, nothing done about it. But then there was this weird incident that happened when we went back to the scene of where this guy in this truck likes to call people the N-word, and some white guys were getting arrested there. Then, of course, the most recent and the most interesting contrast to draw with the stupid Longhorn that got placed in front of another white boy frat. And it's crazy how the response was so immediate and swift from all levels of top administration. However, let us say one thing about how we had to wait days, how some of us didn't even see the statement on the news. And we're attacked through social media, through everywhere. We feel paranoid, unseen, yet right in the middle of everyone's view. Where's the wisdom? Where's the common sense? Where's the experience? Where's the humanity? I think I know someone who can finally give us an answer. And if not an answer, at least a pretty damn good speech about what we need as a community here.
Someone do the labor, the representation matters. If and when I'm talking to faculty and staff, I literally say, if you do not think, feel, and or believe that representation matters, then show up. Give me 15 minutes. You don't need a platform. You don't need a reason. You don't need a scheduled appointment. Allow the students to get to know you in a different way outside of your business professional. I want to know who you are as a whole human. What did you go through? How did you get here? Those conversations need to happen. And if our students don't have that access, they don't see that someone is supporting them as an individual, because everyone's needs are different. If you don't see me supporting you and what your interests are, then where do we go from there? Research shows that students that have a mentor is more likely to mentor others. That's what the center is. We're doing the labor without the folks that have all of the acronyms and the initials and letters, those dangling modifiers. They're not here. They're not present. We're doing the labor on our own. Sad. Y'all are just sad. I said it.
It ain't finished, but I'm gonna show you when we get there.
I would never eat a play like that because that's low vibrational.
Okay. First of all, I can see it. I ain't done. You see, I'm aching.